You know, just before I was promoting the show a little bit earlier, talked about the fact that my producer had a tornado that appeared in her neighborhood. And, you know, we read about these things, but until we experience these upsets that happen in our lives, we're not really aware of what happens to another person. You don't know what's going on inside another person's head when you meet them. You don't know what they've been through. You may be able to get a little bit of a read of a person as being sad or happy, or that life has been difficult. But basically, when you look at a person, you don't know the history. And one of the privileges that you have when you're a psychiatrist is that you have an opportunity to see behind the mask so that you get the general picture and begin to hear what people are thinking and feeling. Now, a lot of people have asked me, how do I cut through to the heart of the problem so much? The truth is, it's just learning to listen, and listening not so much to any specific patterns, but listening to the sound of a feeling. And it's something you can learn. And if you stay tuned and you stay with me and you listen with me, you'll pick up those same skills, because it's a skill and I can teach it to you. And as a matter of fact, nothing would make me happier than you becoming more sensitive to the whole world of feelings. Arlene Guillen.
Hi, David. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I was taking a look at the monitor.
Have you looked at the screen? It looks like tonight you are going to be listening to a lot of different emotions.
Well, a lot of emotions, but there's a lot of sexual obsession. Here's someone whose husband is promiscuous and is now HIV positive.
Right.
Yeah.
And an unfaithful fiancé.
Yeah.
So I see that.
Who are we leading off with?
Okay, we're going to take Tawny first. She's on line A, and she's still young and losing her sex drive.
Tawny.
Hi.
Hi, how old are you, Tawny?
I'm 21.
Why are you calling?
Well, my husband and I have been married about a year and a half, and sex just doesn't seem to have as much importance to me anymore as it used to.
Have you had a kid?
I have two.
You have two kids?
Yes.
How old are the kids?
My oldest will be 3 in July, and my youngest is just almost 2 months old.
And when did you first notice that there was a drop in sex drive?
Gosh, I guess about a year ago.
A year ago. It would be just about the time you got pregnant.
Yeah.
Why did you get pregnant?
Well, we just got pregnant. We decided we wanted to have the baby. And
Can you tell me about that decision process? You were 20 years old. Did you want to have a baby?
yes.
And why did you want to have a baby?
Well, we love each other very much, and we thought that having a baby would be just right for us.
Okay. How old is your husband?
He's 19.
He's 19. What does he do for a living?
He's a security guard.
What do you do?
I just stay at home.
You just stay home. How's the marriage between the two of you?
It seems to be doing just fine. We don't have very many fights or anything like that. We have money's really tight, but we don't seem to be having very many problems. Just the sexual problem is the biggest.
Well, you know, there are very few sexual problems that don't have as their heart an emotional difficulty. You know that. You do know that.
Yeah.
And usually the emotional problem behind the sexual problem has to do with something that's not being faced. When you say you don't have many fights, what does it you mean? Do you tell them what you feel?
Well, I try. We don't argue a lot. I got out of a relationship that was very
Abusive?
abusive, and compared to that,
Tawny,
we don't fight.
I really want to hear you, but the line's terrible. So I'm going to ask you to hang up, and we're going to get right back to you.
Okay.
Okay? Because that happens sometimes. So you're gone. I'll pick up someone else, and we'll be right back to you. Or maybe, or will we be back to her in a second? We're not sure. Well, we'll be back in a second. But let me just tell you a little bit about sexual problems, okay? When a sexual problem develops in a marriage, it almost always is a screen for something else. It almost always has to do with something that's being remembered. usually a painful situation such as an abuse, or it's related to some feeling that is not being expressed between the couple. And when someone says they're not having any arguments at all, the thing that I'm suspicious about is maybe they're not communicating any feelings. In every relationship that's worth anything, people are always fighting. I don't mean always fighting, I mean, but there's always some emotion being raised up. And the freedom with which you can express your hurt and the freedom you can express your anger is critical. Because if you cannot express your hurt or anger in a relationship, you cannot express your love. Who's next? We're going to have to wait for her to come back.
Okay, hopefully we won't have the same problem. We have John on line B, and he has an unfaithful fiance, and now he needs help deciding what to do.
Okay, John.
Yeah,
How old are you, John?
26.
Tell me what you're going through.
Well, approximately 7 or 8 years ago, I met a young girl by the name of Sylvia, just as I was leaving the Army. And we've been dating off and on for, a number of years. And she's Catholic, and she's been saving her virginity for a number of years. And approximately about a year ago, she wasn't feeling very emotionally attracted towards me. And we kind of separated, or we were having problems. And she had an encounter with an older man. And they got together one night, and apparently she lost her virginity. They didn't have so-called penetration, full penetration, but she did lose. She broke her hymen and lost her. I consider losing her virginity.
Well, put it this way. She went further with him than she went with you.
Just a bit, yeah.
Just a bit?
Yeah.
Well, how far did things go? Just petting?
A little further than that. Let's just say we didn't have intercourse.
Okay, but she went further with this other person.
Yeah.
Okay. But you've been dating, and it didn't sound as if the relationship was working.
Okay.
All right. What happens? You got to understand some reality here. A person is in a relationship. Every relationship sets its own rules and its own limits. Some relationships you never go to certain places, emotionally, sexually, or whatever. And other relationships go beyond those as part of the relationship. It's just expected.
Right.
Okay? And she grew up with you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And then she meets this older man who had an entirely different way of looking at the whole thing.
Right.
So in order to play, she had to go in at a higher ante.
Okay.
All right? And you're horrified that she didn't say, wait a second, this is beyond my limit.
Right.
In other words, she set the limits and the standards of the relationship with you.
Right. Well, apparently she said this was an accident.
Yeah, well, you want to believe that? That was no accident.
Yeah.
There was no accident. It was experimentation.
Mm-hmm.
And whether that's important or not is not the thing. The thing that matters is that she admits the truth of it. She was excited. She was with someone else. She was testing out her self-worth. He was an older man. It was more interesting than you were at that moment. You were a bore and a drudge to her, right?
I would say so.
Right. The relationship was a 6-year rut.
Right.
And all of a sudden, Mr. Exciting came around, thought she was wonderful, and other things became possible because her self-esteem went up.
Okay.
So now are you together again?
Yeah.
You say that yeah like I can't figure out what it means.
I'm trying to figure out that myself.
So don't say yeah. You're trying to understand whether you're together again, right?
Yeah.
Say yeah again. I'm just trying to be on your side.
No, I understand.
All right.
Okay.
So how often do you see this woman?
A number of times during the week.
A number of times during the week. Would you like to give me the number?
3 to 5.
3 to 5. And how long do you spend with her when you see her?
Anywhere from 2 to 6 hours.
Okay. And what does the relationship feel like? Warm, close, and intimate, sharing, and open, where you feel free to be yourself, on one end or like a total stranger on the other? Where are you? 10 points for the one, 0 for the other. Give me a number.
It's closer to stranger at times.
Give me a number.
About a 6 towards stranger.
6 towards strange, is that a 4?
Strangers on the 10 and
Yeah, come on.
yeah, about a 6.
About a 6.
Yeah.
That's a decent relationship. I don't think you got a 6. Neither do you. Right?
Okay, yeah, you're right.
All right, so you're not happy with her is what you're saying.
No, I'm not.
Okay. So why are you there?
I care for her.
I know, but you care for a lot of people doesn't mean you stay with them.
So,
I care for a lot of people that I'm glad I'm not married to.
okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
One of my supervisors in residency training said the nicest thing about psychiatry is you get to meet all the women that you didn't marry.
Okay.
Okay? It sounds like this is a relationship that both of you have outgrown, but there's something very familiar about it. And the familiarity with it is sometimes sexually very deadening. Maybe it's time to be apart for a year. If it's right, it'll always come back together.
Okay.
You've been thinking of that anyhow.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. So what are you calling me for?
You usually seem to give good advice.
All right, but you're the one who wants to leave. Right?
I really don't. I really like to make it work.
Okay. How are you going to make it work when you don't feel good about being there?
I just feel used.
I know. And maybe you were, and maybe you were using her. That's why I'm suggesting some time apart. Because the two of you have so defined each other by each other's reaction to each other that you have become a closed, self-fulfilling system. It feels suffocating to me.
Okay.
Doesn't it feel that way to you often?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a sign that the relationship's very, very old. I think you need to date, the two of you. I think you need to forgive her. I think you need to find someone who thinks you're just the hottest thing on two legs.
It's funny, because I meet a number of women, and I get the feeling from that, but I want it from her.
Yeah, well, you don't get it from her. So that tells you all you need to know. You get it where you get it. The feeling is where the feeling is. And you can say, gosh, if she only were this way, or if he were only kinder to me, or if she only were more loving, or if he were less abusive or didn't drink. The way people are is the way they are. Don't try to change them. Just accept them, and everyone will be happy. You think she's happy
No.
with you not accepting her and wishing she'd change?
No,
She hates.
Maybe I should just move back to Seattle, where I came from.
Seattle. The plane leaves in the morning.
Yeah.
Take care, John.
Okay.
See you at the market.
Thank you, sir.
Take care. Here we go.
Sounded like he wanted permission to leave.
Everyone wants permission to leave.
Well,
Come
you
on.
gave it to him. Okay, we're going to try Tawny one more time, and we have her on line D.
Okay. Tawny,
Hello?
well, you're back.
You can hear me better?
Oh, I can hear you great.
Okay.
All right, now, you have had a decrease in sexual appetite, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. We have normal fights like everybody else. You know, it's just compared to my past abusive relationship, it's like nothing compared to that. So,
Okay. But, you know, in a past abusive relationship, it takes two to tango, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. To what extent did you contribute to those painful things that happened in the past?
Well, the last relationship I had, yeah, I provoked it quite a bit.
Why?
I guess basically because I just was not happy in the relationship and I wanted a reason to get out.
Okay, so you're talking about low self-esteem.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you couldn't walk until you were beaten so badly you couldn't deny it anymore.
Pretty much.
Is that the father of your other kid?
Yes, it is.
Does he see you?
He sees her once every couple of months whenever he feels like it, I guess.
Okay. Now, when did he start seeing the kid a little bit more recently?
No, not really.
About a year ago. Did anything in visitation change?
No.
Your husband's feelings towards the 3-year-old?
He loves her. It's hard for him to adjust. He's trying to be as best of a father he can, but
What do you mean adjust?
well, he's 19 years old and trying to raise a kid and a wife and a newborn, and
So
it's
he's
really hard
he's feeling overwhelmed.
I'm sure he is.
Okay. How is he sexually?
He's very sexual.
Is he demanding?
What do you mean by that?
What do I mean by is he demanding?
I mean, like, do you mean?
Let's do it now?
No, not really. He's more like a teasing and playful.
Teasing. But any of the teasing negative? Even a little bit?
No.
How sensitive is he to you?
He's sensitive. He feels like, I guess I make him feel like I'm not attracted to him anymore, but I am.
Okay. There's something here that runs much deeper than on the surface. Okay? The first thing you need to be checked out with is, although this has started prior to the baby, it seems to have gotten worse during pregnancy, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you need do you have an obstetrician?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, it'd be good for you to go for a checkup and let him know about the change in your sexual feelings that have occurred, because sometimes there's a hormonal imbalance that it may not cause it, but it will aggravate it, okay? The other thing, it feels like he may be feeling very insecure.
Mm-hmm.
You relate to that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that insecurity may be making him sexually unattractive to you. I mean, he may be running scared. He may be showing his 19 years. You may love him very much, but he may suddenly feel not quite grown up enough for you. And that may take some of the edge off the sexuality. His teasing playfulness may be attractive, but it may also be a turnoff at some level. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, you said that with a certain degree of conviction.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
It's just sometimes I'll be, doing my regular chores around the house and stuff, and he'll be chasing after me, and it gets annoying every now and then.
Okay, so what it is he's still a kid, and you're a mother of two kids trying to handle it.
Yeah.
Okay, so he does not understand you. He's not sensitive.
Okay.
Okay? And that's what's turning you off. So I think the first thing I would tell him is that his activity and insensitivity to you and demanding that you play, is not exactly a turn-on for you. The other thing is, although he's 19 and you're 21, having two kids and being 21 makes you older than 21.
Yeah.
How old do you feel? How old would you be, as Satchel Paige said, if you didn't know how old you was? Tell me.
I feel like I'm probably about 30.
Okay. So that's what I'm saying. So what you're looking for is a little maturity, and he gets insecure, turned away, frightened, and I think it's time for you to start talking to him a little more openly, a little more honestly about how disappointed you are and his attitude towards you. I think the sexuality is your holding back, is your way of expressing your anger at him for disappointing you. We all do it, We all show our feelings in ways that aren't always obvious, but the feelings are there, and the message, if you take time to hear, the message is always clear. Stay tuned. Welcome back. David Viscott here. Who's next, Arlene?
We have Melody. She's on line 9, and she has a promiscuous husband and a couple of other problems to deal with.
Melody.
Hello.
What a voice.
How are you?
I'm good, Melody.
I think you're a great guy, full of wisdom. So I give you a call and thought maybe you could help me out a little bit.
Okay, what's the problem?
Well, I met my husband 9 years ago, I'm an older woman. I'm non-Jewish. She's from a nice Jewish family. The mother never quite liked the situation. Finally, we got back together again and got married. And I was going to I have my tubes tied, and I was going to have them untied to have another child at the mother-in-law's request. That was the only way they blessed the marriage. And through the process of that, I had my own blood drawn, and they found out that I had hepatitis, and they checked my husband and come to find out he was HIV.
How long have you been married?
3 years last January.
And when did you find out that your husband has HIV?
It was shortly after our marriage.
Okay. And how often have you been checked?
I get checked every 6 months for the last 3 years. I'm at the point now where I'm pretty well a negative, and when we do have sex, which is far and in between, it is protected, very well protected.
What do you mean very well protected?
Well, we use a condom with the Naloxone 9, and
You know something? When someone has HIV, using a condom is not safe sex.
Well, I try to live as normal as life as possible
Let me
and
repeat.
give him that too.
Let me repeat. When a person is HIV positive, using a condom is not sufficient.
Should I just go to abstinence?
That's the only safe way you can do that.
Well, there's been times we've gone 4 months without sex. And all of a sudden that doesn't seem to be the most important issue in our relationship. He feels dirty, lethal. He's going through his own thing too.
Well, I understand, but the fact of the matter is you cannot compromise with this.
Definitely. I mean, I have an 11-year-old boy to worry about, and I feel like I'm sitting on a time bomb.
You are, if you're not, if you're having sex with him at all, where you are involving any kind of body contact, this is dangerous. Surely you must be speaking to physicians, right?
Yes.
And what do they advise?
Everyone has said as long as I have the Naloxone 9 with the condom, that it does seem to kill the virus if by chance the rubber breaks or whatever, that the Naloxone 9 does kill the virus. But, there's a lot more to it than that.
Go ahead.
We bought a house a year ago in July, and I work. My husband works. I have a couple of extra days off than he is. I work my tush off all the time, front yard, backyard, and my husband comes home, plops it on the couch, and I begin to resent him because he acts like an AIDS patient when he's only an HIV. He's very healthy at this point. He's been taking AZT for about 9 months. He breathes pentanzamine. He doesn't. I begin to feel doomed. He's got over $700 in traffic tickets now. He's not in the traffic line. He's in the criminal. I just feel like he's running up these bills, and he's going to drop dead on me, and I'm going to be left with everything because, we don't discuss doctor visits because I don't want to know about it because I figure if I hang out to the end.
Why don't you not want to know about it?
I tend to dwell on things, and I'm at the point now where I'm on sleeping pills at night because I cannot go to sleep.
Yeah, but why don't you want to know about it?
If it's good, I want to know about it. If it's not good, I don't.
Where are his T cells?
Last they were checked, they were around 400.
So they're getting down there.
Yes. But like I said, he's still very active, and if you looked at him, you would never know.
But he obviously has the disease.
He does.
Okay.
And then a lot of this goes back, too. I was sexually abused as a child. I was emotionally abused, physically abused, and it's like, God damn, when does it end?
Do you love him?
Yeah, I love him. A lot of times I don't like him. A lot of times I resent him. I'm angry with him.
If he didn't have HIV, what would be the state of your relationship?
we were best of friends, and now I find that we are not as close as we used to be. And
If you didn't have the virus between you, what would your relationship be like?
I think it would be good. We've always been very open and very honest with each other, and each other's best friend. We've defended each other against each other's families. Well, mostly his, being I'm a goy.
That's a non-Jew for those of you who aren't so tutored.
Yes.
Go ahead.
You know, I made an appointment for him. We switched insurance companies. This is an example. You know, his mother seems to think I don't take care of him, and I'm out shopping up the spree when I only shop at Vaughn's. That's about the extent of my getting out and splurging. And, you know, he seems to think that when the time comes and he gets sick, that his family's going to come in and help me out. And I don't feel like they are. They weren't for this to begin with.
And how do they react to any discussions about this? Do you discuss it with them?
Yeah, we have discussed. We've discussed about, you know, new things that are coming out, but we've never really discussed what would become, what would happen if we were to get sick.
Well, when?
Pardon?
You mean when?
When? Yeah, when? You know, I mean, I guess
I think it's time that there was a family meeting, and he started to talk to everybody and gave an update on what the doctors say, what the effects of the medication are, how he's feeling.
Well, his mother goes to the doctors with him. Everybody but the grandparents know what's going on, and that was a big thing too, where they didn't want anything to do with me because it was like mine and Tim's secret, and his mother and father, and it felt like a lot of pressure on me, and I felt it was a family issue. And so I told a family member, and of course I was outcasted and couldn't be trusted. And
well, it cannot be a secret in the family.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't my place to tell anybody. But
well, I think, you know,
I felt like I was taking care of myself.
All right, you have a lot of resentment of your husband because he's given up. Does he belong to any of these groups?
No.
I think he has to. How did he get the virus?
We don't know. We don't know. We don't know how long he's had it. We don't know where or whom or...
What does he tell you?
We had broke up for a while, and he was Mr. International with a lot of different women, and it's quite amazing that I don't have it because it wasn't until after we got married that we started having protective sex.
Yeah, but the point is, was he with any men?
No, my husband is definitely not that type of guy.
Was he doing drugs?
No, he's not an intravenous drug user. He was just one of those ones that was a heterosexual. And we are very honest with each other. I know that he would have told me.
Melody, I think you got to bring the whole family in at another level, but you have to talk to him because it sounds like he's starting to get depressed on you.
Well, you know, he goes golf. He manages a little league team. You know, the guy gets reminded of it 5 times a day. He has to take his AZT. He's got to go to the doctor.
I understand, but the point is, he also needs to be in a support group where people are dealing with that and living with it. Some people live a long time, but the point is, the idea is how you live that long time. I would get him involved in groups. I think the family needs to be involved in a support group, and I think what you're doing for this family may not be seen by the family for something that's beneficial because it's bringing too much dirty laundry to light, and no one wants to really look at a thing like that. AIDS is shaping the whole way we think about sex, the whole way we talk to our children about it. It's making us discuss sexual acts that maybe we never even would indulge in. But it's here. It's a threat to the heterosexual community. It's all of our problem. It's the people who are most at risk are young people between the ages of 15 and 22. And all you kids at UCLA and USC who are listening to me now, who are having sex wherever you find it, you are in the highest risk group there is, next to the homosexual group. Trust me, it's not safe. We'll be right back. David Viscott, welcome back. Interesting program tonight already.
David, I have a question
Go
about
ahead.
the last call. And like the case of like with Melody, if, the family obviously has turned a blind eye to it or they don't want to see it, what does she do if they aren't going to help her?
Well, the question is, how do you deal with denial? And people don't want to see problems that frighten them. They don't want to see problems that might involve them taking care or lending money
Right.
or giving time. And basically, the situation just deteriorates to a point where the pain breaks through the denial. So she persists and is alone in persisting, and then at one point, it starts leaking through everyone else's life.
They're just going to break down and come around? Or?
Well, they're going to be in so much pain they won't be able to avoid it. Life has a way of doing those things, you know. Who's up?
Okay, we have Brad on line C, and his career has been ruined by some false accusations.
Brad?
Yes.
Hi, Brad. How old are you?
I'm 42, David.
What can I do for you, Brad?
Well, I've been falsely accused of molesting my stepdaughter, and my wife and I disagree on how to handle it.
Okay. How old is she?
She's 18 now.
And did she admit it?
Well, what happened is they first accused my wife of physical abuse, and when it appeared that the juvenile court was going to put him back in the home, she came out with this allegation that I had been molesting her since age 11. And I want to fight it because they took skin samples off me and did DNA testing that proves my innocence. But my wife is considering suicide because she feels that if they haven't let go in light of the exculpatory evidence and the fact that the detective who arrested
Who
me,
hasn't let go?
the DA's office,
They still are holding the case?
yes, they've had exculpatory DNA since September.
Go ahead.
And the detective, when he arrested me, told my wife, I may not get a conviction, but I'm going to ruin your lives. And in speaking with my attorney, he told me that I'll never work again, that it is true, that they do ruin your lives. And I haven't been able to find work since this has started. Thank God my wife is a registered nurse who works in the operating room, and that, coupled with my military retirement, is helping see us through.
Now, if you were to contest this, what would you do?
It's going to go to a jury trial.
Are you going there?
You bet.
And your wife doesn't want to face this?
Well, my wife feels that the only way out is to just take herself out or take us both out of the game. Just remove ourselves from their game.
And what about the daughter?
She's living with her paternal grandparents now. They've been out of the house since April of last year.
Has she recanted?
No, not to my knowledge.
What does she say?
She's standing by the story. Although I will say that since it initially started with 15 counts, and we just came out of a Superior Court conference about 3 or 4 weeks ago where the DA offered a plea bargain. If I would admit to something I didn't do, he would give me he would take it down to 2 counts. And those 2 counts, she didn't even live with us then.
They don't have a case.
That's the way I see it, and that's why
They
I
have
want to
no
fight
case. They have no case.
It's just that the
Count-
stress in our life
Well,
is incredible.
Countersuits are in order.
Count the suits.
Countersuits.
Countersuits are in order. I'm not sure about that because my attorney says that we do not have a civil case because all a person has to do is make an allegation, and that gives the sheriff's department probable cause to arrest somebody and ruin their lives.
But not to say, I'm going to ruin your life. I mean, that was done with malice of forethought. You're supposed to be presumed innocent.
That's the way the system is supposed to work. In theory, it works that way. In practice, it doesn't.
Okay, so that's the case that needs to be brought forward.
But
I think I've heard 4 people this year with your problem on this program. Not my radio program on KABC, on this program at night.
Hmm. But like I say, it's put our life in limbo.
Terrible.
And my wife is in chronic pain because she's got 4 herniated discs, 2 in her neck and 2 in her lumbar spine.
So she has a lot of factors that are fueling her depression.
A lot of factors. And she wasn't, when I retired from the Air Force, and when I was working for the sheriff, it was great. She could stay home and manage her pain. And she was watching the kids, and the kids got more supervision than they wanted. Plus, there was a reduced income because she was no longer working, and I was the only income. And I think it became an issue of greener grass.
Well, yeah, you're feeling a lot of constriction, but the real constriction is that your wife just wants to be free of this.
Well, there are worse things in life than death, is what is her position on it.
She sounds...
She's here with me. I would hope to think we're both educated.
Put her on. What's her name?
Her name is Joan.
Let me speak to Joan.
Hold on a second.
Here's Joan.
Hello.
Joan,
Yes.
how are you?
I'm in a lot of pain, and if it weren't for Loma Linda University Pain Control Center, I couldn't live day to day. But they've
I don't
allowed
know
me
what-
to go back to work.
I don't know what pain you're referring to, my friend.
I have 4 herniated discs:
That pain.
L4-5, L5-S1, C5-6, C6-7. So physically, I don't feel real good. Psychically, I hurt very badly.
Okay. What is your communication with your daughter?
It's felony witness tampering if I speak with her.
What was the last communication with your daughter that you had?
April 24th of 1991, the sheriff's requested that I bring my children down to the police station, and it was kind of inconsequential, just, day-to-day talk. Come on, get your stuff together. We need to go down. They want to talk to us for something.
Did you have any suspicion that she was up to this?
No.
Was there anything that suggested in her behavior or makeup that she would ever be this?
She fits the DSM-3 of an antisocial personality.
What is your background?
I have a bachelor's in nursing. I've worked towards my master's in it. I've spent 8 years working adolescent psychiatry. The rest of the time has been in ICU, and the last 5 years have been in surgery.
Okay, so you have an antisocial daughter.
Pardon? I think so.
Which-
That's how it appears.
Which means she'll lie and she can pass a lie detector test.
You bet. And the really sad part is we have many friends who are professionals, anesthesiologists, etc., who will eventually testify for us, who do realize this and did at that time realize this.
You know what?
She had tried this once before.
You know what? I would go to trial. I would bring in all the people, all the professionals, and I would just go right at it. What she needs more than anything else is to be discredited.
Yes, I wholly agree with you.
Is there any way you could press charges against your own daughter for perjury?
She made the accusations prior to being 18 years old. If she testifies after the age of 18, there's a possibility that we may be able to press charges for perjury.
I would do that.
However, financially, this has taken every cent we have, and I work
Well,
on a day-to-day basis.
I don't care. There's a way to do this, and on the perjury charge, that's a felony.
Yes, it is.
So that you could then have the prosecutor prosecute her. Think of it, because
I've thought about that, and we've spoken to our attorney about that.
because it's absolutely a necessity. If you have a kid who's turning out wrong, the first thing you do is you have got to stop this shift of power from you to her. And if she is acting in a way where she is not learning the key social lesson, she'll go to her death, believing she's right, unless
yeah.
you do this.
Oh, yeah.
So what I would do is I would have her lose this one. And it would be the greatest act and the best lesson you taught her during your life.
I plan to go to trial on this, and I plan to fight her. I don't plan to live the rest of my life.
And
I really believe
and I
suicide is the better option.
Don't.
you know?
That's giving her a victory. And it's also destroying her at the same time.
It's the only way I can truly strike at her.
Yeah, but it's not going to work.
But it removes me from pain.
No, it doesn't.
Physically, it does.
But all it does is hurt the person you most love.
Well, we were talking about committing suicide together.
What a waste.
I'm not sure I do any good on a day-to-day basis.
Well, I mean, when you have a frustrated pain with a child that eats away at the core of your being, and then you have a spinal central nervous system illness that's causing depressing chronic pain, it's very difficult not to combine the two of them under one statement. When you came on the air, you know, I couldn't tell what pain you were referring to, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I would externalize your anger in a good cause.
But when it's over, when we have won, and I truly believe we will win, we have DNA. She has, I don't know if you know human papillomavirus, but she has 6, 11, 16, and 18, and she also has chlamydia. This HPV, though, is incurable. They cut skin samples off my husband's penis, and which I believe I would love to talk to the American Civil Liberties Union. Unfortunately, they're impossible to get hold of, but I do believe it's a violation of civil rights. I digress. However, I believe that we will win because it shows that he carries none of the 4 viruses she carries. He's also negative for chlamydia. So when it comes to trial, obviously, we will win. But after that, my husband is a licensed aircraft mechanic. He's an educated man. His degree is in education. He will never work again. He's had jobs where he's applied to.
Wait. Don't project negativity into the future. Win the battle. And once the battle is won, the negativity that you're feeling will be resolved sufficiently so you'll be able to make a move in a direction that will give a positive result. I want you to stay in touch with me, okay?
Okay.
No suicide.
I'm willing to.
No suicide.
I'm willing to make that commitment until the trial is over, but I'm not willing to commit much beyond that.
All right, but you'll stay in tune.
I would like to speak to you very much.
Okay. The two of you, because I believe that you're both deserving, and I think you should have every chance to make it. And I want you to stay on because we're going to give you a private line so you can cut through the thousands of callers, okay? You with me?
Very much.
Okay.
I truly appreciate it. One other question I have for you. You are in the public eye and a very public person. Right now, this case has not been publicized. Should we go public? If you were in our shoes, would you go public?
Go public. What have you got to lose?
Because I'm wondering if
There
the
are
thing
people-
to do is to focus a spotlight on
Sure.
this injustice.
Yes. Let all the crap and filth hang out. The people who are going to hire your husband will hire him on the basis of his talent and sympathy, but they won't hire him if they think he's hiding something. Bringing it out in the open is the best thing you can do.
Thank you for allowing me a private access to you also. I am very grateful to you for this.
My pleasure. Take care.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll be right back. You stay tuned. What a difficult thing we're in with this whole business, where a child can accuse a parent, and whether that's true or not, the child's word is taken, and often with overzealous caseworkers, I've seen a lot of this. Lives are ruined. The child is allowed to perpetrate a kind of negative activity. And worse than that, the child becomes reinforced in the belief that they're telling the truth even when they're lying. Albeit, you know, the benefit is probably greater than the damage, but why should there be damage to innocence at all?
David, in the case of their daughter, they said she was antisocial. Would she have to have a reason to accuse him, or would she just think it up in her mind?
Well, that's a discussion of antisocial personality. These are people who say whatever they want to say, whenever they want to say it, for whatever reason they want, and they have no capacity to feel another person's feelings, no sense of compassion, and
Just truly believe that it's so then?
well, it's not. No, it's that they believe that everything they want to do is justified because they want to do it. They know they're doing wrong. They just don't give a damn.
Oh, okay. Well,
That's why they're antisocial.
Okay, let's go to Liz. She's on line 1, and she's having fantasies about a movie star.
Liz.
Hi,
Hi, Liz. How old are you?
31.
31.
Mhm.
Tell me what's going on.
Well, I don't know where to start. I've never done this.
Well, why'd you call?
I need somebody to talk to.
About
This fantasy I have,
which is?
it sounds crazy, it's with Mickey Rourke.
Mickey Rourke. What is the fantasy about Mickey Rourke?
Sexual.
Yeah, but when did it start?
Since I saw Wild Orchid.
Okay, and what was the thing about Wild Orchid that arrested your attention?
I guess his ruggedness, the way he carried himself.
Okay. That was how long ago? That's a couple of years already.
Well, excuse me, that's my clock in the background. This just started, and I just started watching all his movies.
How long ago?
About 6 months now.
Okay. And to what extent are you involved with this fantasy?
Just in the mind.
Well, of course, but where else would a fantasy be?
Naturally.
Okay, so to what extent are you involved with it?
Just touching him and kissing him and being with him.
Okay, so but to what extent are you involved with it? How much of the time do you think about this?
A lot.
What is a lot?
Almost every day.
How much every day?
Once or twice a day.
Once or twice a day?
Yeah.
How long is each episode of thinking about Mickey Rourke?
About 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
Why do you think this is a big deal?
I don't know. I mean, I'm very happily married to my husband, but we're not very sexually active. And I don't know if it's my age or
What's your age?
31.
Well, everyone knows that when you hit 30, there's no more sex life. Didn't anyone tell you that?
No.
Oh, come on. You must know that that's not the age where sex gets turned off. It's one of the hot ages for a woman.
Oh, yeah, everybody tells me that, but I just wanted to hear it, I guess, from somebody professional.
Well, I mean, you got Wild Orchid written all over you, kid.
And all the other movies I've seen.
Well, you know what I'm saying. I mean,
Yeah.
you're sexually interested. What's with your husband? How come he's turned you off?
He doesn't turn me off. It's just he's not very as sexually active as I would like him to be.
Which is how often?
We have sex maybe 3 times a month.
Not very often for you.
No.
And if everything were the way you wanted it, it would be...
Be great, because when
Well, it would be how often?
Probably all week if I could. He's tired when he comes home from work.
What do you do on the weekends?
Well, every other weekend I have my daughters. So we go out with them during the weekend, or when I don't have my daughters, we go out in the evenings, or we just sit home and watch television.
Why do you watch television?
Something to do.
Oh, you're bored.
No, well,
Yeah.
we used to go out dancing a lot, but I've been out of work on a back injury.
Okay. For how long?
For almost a year now.
And how bad is the back injury?
Well, they want me to have surgery.
And what does this make your husband feel like?
Well, for a while, it's made him feel insecure, I guess, because of our financial situation.
Okay, so it's hard for him to feel confident.
feel confident.
Yeah. You're not in love with Mickey Rourke.
No, maybe I'm just nuts.
No, your relationship with your husband isn't working. You're not making it work. How often do you come on to him?
Well,
Never.
No, I come on to him a lot.
How often?
It's just I have to.
How often?
Not as often as I should.
How often is the question? Come on, I want answers to questions. When was the last time you came on to your husband?
2 days ago.
Okay, and what was the response?
He wanted to, but he was tired.
What time of day was this?
It was like 10 o'clock at a.m. I mean p.m., excuse me.
What time does he come home from work?
7.
So why did you wait till 10? You're watching television from 7 to 10, I'll bet, right?
Yeah.
Don't watch television.
I know, I'm always telling my kids the same thing.
Yeah, but come on, you've turned into a couch potato. I'll bet you put on some weight, too.
Yeah, I have.
How much?
More than I want.
Okay. I think it's time for the both of you to start getting into shape. I think you've got to plan some sexual activity. I think you have to work around his fatigue. He's fatigued. He's afraid of hurting you. And I think you have to appear strong. I think you have to make some efforts. Mickey Rourke is just a symbol. I mean, come on. Why don't you go on to an 8.5-week program of feeling better?
Well, I even go through a support group that I've been attending for the last 2 years, not for this reason, and I talk to them about it all the time.
Yeah, but you're not doing it right with your husband.
Well, I mean,
Don't wait till 10 o'clock. If you want action, start at 8.
Well, I've made, romantic dinners and put on negligées.
Why don't you, do you discuss it openly with him?
Yeah, we talk about almost about everything.
Almost about everything. Do you talk about this?
Yeah, and he tells me that I'm being foolish.
Well, tell him you're not being foolish. Tell him it's hurting you. Tell him it's in the way of your relationship working. Tell him it's really important. And tell him you want to get it on with him because you're thinking about Mickey Rourke. Tell him about Mickey Rourke. He's got to hear that because that's the first sign that it's not working. Is there a Mickey Rourke in your life? Would you like to be in an 8.5-week self-redemption program? It begins by telling your husband or your wife that you're having fantasies about someone else. That usually starts the ball rolling. A little anxiety brings people to reality. You stay tuned. A lot of great calls coming right up.